Lots of people have bad memories of the first American Godzilla film. It's the movie where all we see is the damn monster's feet. I remember seeing the film twice. I tried, I couldn't enjoy it. I'm not a big Godzilla fan, surprising I know. It's something I've never had a chance to sit down and watch all the films. Even that did not help me like the film. The problems with the 98 film is that it didn't feature Godzilla and monster fights. The 98 film was banking on the CG spectacle just like Independence Day. They wrote the film in that mindset. They did not develop the characters you could invest in, especially Matthew Broderick's version of Tanopolis. So Godzilla 98 came and went. But it did have an animated series based off it. Night and day difference. Everything that was missing, complained about from the film, was put into the series. You could see the show was modeled after other animated series that came before. The 90s Hulk, Batman TAS, and Extreme Ghostbusters, especially with them using some of the voice cast and producers from that one. The series takes place right after the first film. It wraps up threads and issues they left. The first thing it does is gets rid of movie Godzilla. It's evil, it killed many, destroyed the city. There was really nothing they could do with that. What they did use was the baby eggs that were left over. Even though I didn't care for that plot, it gave them an out. Fans of Godzilla want to see monster fights, but you also want to root for Godzilla. Some of the films tend to not get this balance perfect. Here, with a tweak from the film, the Godzilla egg nest had one survivor. Nick wanted to make sure there was none left. He had fallen into this goop when the last one hatched, so he ended up becoming its adopted father. Tanopolis is able to loosely communicate with Godzilla, where he and his team, HEAT, Humanitarian Environmental Analysis Team, hid out at an abandoned Staten Island dock and tried to teach him. The writers did a lot of reworks on Tanopolis' character. Broderick's Tanopolis in the film was annoying. He's supposed to be the scientist, but would do idiotic things, be an airhead in some cases. They scrapped all that. The show version is actually intelligent. He will use scientific methods towards Godzilla and figuring out the weaknesses of other monsters. Go against the military, where you can believe it.
And if another one's running around after you gave the city a clean bill of health?
They gave him a commanding presence, rather than trying to keep Broderick's aloof side. How much stuff was kept from the movie? 3 of the actors came back, Craven, Hicks, and the mayor, while they expanded on the movie characters like Timmons, the news reporter. Just like the MIB series, the writers did not dumb anything down. City destruction, monsters attacking, weapons, and missiles are all here and used. There are times we even see Godzilla bleed. The show has some brevity, that's what some of the secondary characters are for. Lots of them crack jokes at the expense of Tanopolis. They put in references that poke fun of the movie. Craven is the one that always moans at the situations he's in. Daniel Jackson mannerisms from Stargate really rub off here.
Sorry.
You got Randy Hernandez playing video games, not treating situations always serious. Elsie Chapman, the more snarky of the group, she loves to point out the flaws of others, but overlooks hers.
2 PhDs and you still can't remember to pack tissues.
Don't worry, it's not a laugh fest. Each of the teammates on HEAT all have jobs that aid and solve the various monster threats. Randy is a tech geek, hacking and getting into places he shouldn't. This allows HEAT to stay mostly hidden. Craven is the inventor, will come up with the team's gear and other survival equipment for them and Godzilla. One of his main gadgets is Nigel, a remote control all-purpose robot with somewhat of an artificial intelligence built in, voiced by Tom Kenny. Expect a lot of jokes. Elsie studies the creatures, tries to get into their heads where she and Craven can build ways in communicating better with Godzilla or figuring out how a monster attacks, what they have to worry about from their ability, stuff like that. The last addition given to the series was Monique Dupre. She's this French undercover informant that kept an eye on Tanopolis. The French started the mess in the movie, so this is their way in giving unofficial support. She enables the team to cross borders, gets planes and boats through their journey, and a semi-bodyguard. She's the only one who knows how to fight. Plus, uses the French government to keep some of the military off their back, with the help from Major Hicks. He was tweaked from the film. He still doesn't like Tanopolis, but he respects his position towards Godzilla and will look the other way in several cases. He's the reason why the new Godzilla wasn't killed. But with him being on their side, the show has its own villains that try to capture or kill Godzilla. The show explores the character's history. Some people have grudges against Tanopolis, people that want to exploit the monsters, even a group named Scale, servants of creatures arriving late to Earth, which believe that Godzilla and other mutant monsters are just another part of the planet's evolution, trying to interfere with heat and the military. You had some people using the monsters as a circus show, or trying to do the whole Jurassic Park thing. They did integrate folk tales into the mix, like the Loch Ness Monster, as well as have some of the mutated monsters be on the side of good, so Godzilla isn't just the one-off. Speaking of the other monsters, for the most part, mutated enemies that Godzilla fight are original to this series. You will get monsters that are similar to the classic monsters from the films, but aren't them, including some man-made robotic monsters. They even have alien episodes that go after Earth. It goes pretty far. You kind of expected with Emmerich being involved with the series. The execution of the idea wasn't bad. It's just something you wouldn't expect. If you're wondering, yes, there is an episode that takes place in Japan involving a mutated King Cobra. There are several episodes where Heat loses control of Godzilla, which gives doubts to their ability, as well as Godzilla being framed for attacks on New York. All kinds of stories were done. Shape-shifting DNA, artificial life, monster version of illegal animal fights. Godzilla falls in love with the mutated Kimono dragon, a deadly virus that almost kills Godzilla. If you know the Hulk comic where he's on the run from the military, Godzilla, same thing. It's not surprising when Len Wein and Michael Reeves wrote a few episodes. The series overall utilizes Godzilla to its potential the right way. It respected the franchise better than the original film. Godzilla never got overshadowed. The humans didn't get overshadowed by Godzilla. At the worst, you'll get disappointed with them not using more of the monsters from the classic films. Now, the show didn't get any type of ending. In fact, the last 2 episodes didn't even air in the US. Not because the series was failing, the total opposite happened. It got 2 full seasons. What killed it was the Pokemon-Digimon war that went on during the 2nd season. If you're too young to remember those days, both of those shows were massive. I mean massive hits for both networks. The WB and Fox exploited them to the ground. They ran endless marathons. The closest with that is Cartoon Network's Teen Titan Go Spam. So other series suffered, being delayed, pulled. It got so bad, new episodes of Pokemon would be announced that Saturday. It was insane. Godzilla was one of them. Fox would preempt almost all of their shows just to run Digimon episodes. This caused the last 2 episodes to never air. Not to mention Fox aired the show out of order, so you saw episodes of monsters that were already introduced before they showed their first episode. The show wasn't a standalone series. Most of the time it had story arcs for Heat, Godzilla, and the villains. You can't really watch it out of order. At the end of 2000, it got buried and quietly ended. I think it could have gone on for a few more years. It had several villains. All of them did different plans against Godzilla or Heat. The show got a slew of voice talent ranging from Ronnie Cox, Robbie Rist, to Ron Perlman. It had bits of the MIB series vibe with the composer working on both shows. There's 2 things that were bad about the series. Lack of classic monsters, probably caused by them not wanting to pay for the licenses, and it being a continuation of the '98 film. Most people will not give the show a chance because of that. If you really hated what Emmerich did to Godzilla, I understand why you wouldn't want to go near it. But if you can dissociate the movie to the series, you might enjoy it. The only thing that doesn't make sense are the ancient monsters. If mutated monsters existed thousands of years in the past, then it happens naturally. Why hasn't it happened until Godzilla was born? Don't bring in ancient Egypt or Loch Ness into the universe. It just makes me ask questions. Check out a few episodes. The series doesn't forgive the movie. The series actually makes it worse because this should have been the movie. It's like the Transformer movies. Transformers Prime should have been the movies. If you're wondering, the only time they do the foot joke is in the opening. Thanks for checking out the video. Subscribe if you want to see more from me. And if you remember a movie or a show that's long been forgotten, good or bad, leave it as a suggestion below. I'm always on the lookout for obscured stuff.